Hello, and welcome to Thrive Live Energy Incorporated's podcast, where we're talking to real people with real situations and real solutions. We are so excited today to have this very special Memorial Day podcast coming to you, pre-recorded, so that we could get you some good information and share it with you on Memorial Day. We want to shout out to all of our veterans and all of our military service personnel. Those are reservists and active duty. Retired folks. We want to give a special memorial moment to all of our fallen soldiers, all of our soldiers that are prisoners of war, and for all those that are unknown, especially the families, the children of folks in military, as well as the spouses of military service personnel, and the people that do the extra stuff that support the military outside of being active or reserve duty. We thank you all for your service to our country and to making it possible for us to be here to celebrate you and to celebrate the freedoms that we enjoy in this country. I've got some amazing people with me today, and we're going to share just a little bit with you. It's going to be a short introductory session honoring our veterans and honoring our military folks for this Memorial Day. I want to introduce you my assistant at Energy Inc. She is serving today as one of our special co-hosts, Erin Trelease. So, Erin, you want to say something to you?
Hello, everyone. I have been with Energy for almost 1 year. It'll be 1 year next month.
Yeah.
And super excited. Military holds a special place in my heart, for me, because I've got family and I'm actually a widow from a military man. So, military and Memorial Day is always something that I hold close to my heart. So thank you for having me.
Thank you. And so we've got with us Dr. Joanne Fisher and Dr. Tiffany Daniel, two amazing women who served us in our military, particularly at times, I believe, when women were less supported, less appreciated, and not treated always the best ways. But you served. You both served, and you served valiantly and with honor and with grace, and you continue to serve the military community. So we're excited to have you with us today. We're going to share more about their bios and who they are as they prepare to talk to us. But I know, Joanne, you are on the road this is Memorial Day weekend, and so we're recording this during the weekend, and you've got a bunch of activities going on. So we grabbed you real quick while you were out picking up things for your next set of activities. So thank you for joining us in this moment right where you are. This is the real deal when we can get you right in the middle of the work you're doing. So thank you for taking a moment out with us. And I want to introduce to you first Dr. Joanne Fisher. She is a women's veteran advocate and presently the CEO and founder of the Women's Veterans United Committee Incorporated, which was established in 2015. She is a member of the Joint Veterans Committee of Maryland. She serves as the chief of staff for them and for the Women's Veterans Legislative Committee. She is an AMVET delegate, as well as chair of AMVET's Department of Maryland Women Veterans Committee. She works with veterans programs and military programs all over the place. She does a great program every year. It's really a lot of fun with a whole lot of veteran service organizations. It's too many to tell. This is her life and what she does, in addition to the work that I know she does in her churches and in her community and with her family. She is just an amazing, amazing woman. If you've never gotten a chance to meet her, you do want to get in a space with her. If you're ever in the DMV, you just need to hang around with her for a minute. Her spirit is infectious. Her energy is off the chain. And you would think that she was 20 years old. She just got so much energy, keeps going. She does everything that I know her to do with excellence. And this is why we love her so much. She is a mother of 3 and a grandmother of several. And so she is a U.S. Army reservist, and she served in the Middle East 3 times. And her youngest daughter also is retired from the U.S. Navy, and her son is a chef. So without further ado, we're going to talk for a minute with Dr. Joanne. I'm going to keep wanting to call you Reverend Doctor, with Dr. Joanne Fisher. Go ahead, Joanne, tell us your story. And anything you want to share about what's coming up on this Monday and beyond for our veterans, and just about you. We want to know who you are.
Hi, my name is Dr. Joanne Fisher. I'm excited to be here, and I am for my organization empowers women. If men are around us, we'll empower you too. We really stand hard. We stand hard for women. We do all kinds of issues, and we develop a sisterhood, a true sisterhood. And when we have events, we have many, many events of things that we're doing. So this Memorial Day, Saturday, we're going to be at the only Maryland Women's Memorial location here in the state. Plus on Sunday, we're going to go to the Vietnam Memorial. We're going to be passing out flowers at all of our locations. Plus, we're going to have a luncheon, and then Monday we're going to go to we're going to place wreaths for our women veterans. And we've had women events for Women's History Month, so we could hear her story. And then we also had on the Hill, and we did 6 months for suicide, and we work in partnership with DTL Group Inc. Hope I've got that right. And I have never regretted stepping into this. I am from DC. I left DC. I always wanted to be in the Army, but I left DC and I went to California to live, where I joined the military. And I was on welfare, Section 8, and I lived behind the bar and below a railroad track. And I went in and I got a part-time job, and suddenly I got freedom. I stayed in the military. I ran into some very, very serious things that affected me mentally. It was horrible, but some of it was me, but some of it was also because the military at that time was a severely male-oriented organization, and also it was racist. The Navy was the last frontier for racism, and that's in writing. So if anybody wants to challenge me, you go look that up. It was the Navy was the last frontier, but I stayed. When I came out, I suffered with severe mental illness. It was severe, and some of you would not have recognized it. And that's when I joined Inner Light Ministry, because they began to address the issues that I had. And through them, I went to a school. I did all kinds of things. And I needed to feel the God in me, so that I could get up and move on with my life. That was a very, very difficult time. And having mental illness, people just don't understand how severe it can be. You hear about it today, but you don't understand it until you're in the person's shoes. Then from there, I changed churches, but I always stayed with Inner Light. My basic teachings came from there, and what my basic teaching was that God loved me. So I stayed with them, and then from there, I went to Enduring Joy Ministries, and I have been with them for a number of years, and I enjoy being there. And so from that, I'm very heavily involved in, we have written papers. We've written papers on the treatment of women, on topics of treatment of women. We have done huge baby showers where we gave out things for women that are pregnant with children. We've sent things all overseas. We've sent it to other states down in the state of Georgia. We've done all kinds of amazing things. We have classes. We've had all kinds of classes, and we look at the statistics for women, and we see that the women are needed, that women are helped last. And we have carefully gone over these statistics, and we have groups and programs to help women see who they are so they can help themselves. Why should you suffer? And going to the VA is good, yes, but the VA has a long ways to go. But if you don't have no money, where can you go? Go to the VA hospital. You have to go somewhere to get some help. And rather than be on the street and trying to find a place, we encourage you to do that, because we work with the VA also. And we also work with the deaf and the dying, the dead, people who are dying. We do a lot of that. With that, we set up funerals and things like that. So we are here. We care. And as you look at the number of pregnancies for women, you will find that with women, there are more single women having children in the military, and we have to make sure that their rights are protected as moms. And also, we are concerned about the family core, the culture of the family in the military. We do support that. We must make sure that women are held strong, in a strong environment. And we also are looking at medical, and we're also looking at mind, body, spiritual. And we are there. So with that, Reverend Darrell, that is basically it. We have all kinds of programs coming up that will wear you out, and we're going heavily into legislature. We are really getting heavy into legislature because we want to make a change and make a difference. So, Reverend Darrell, that's it for me.
Well, thank you so much, Joanne. Tell us, Joanne, before you go, tell us a little bit, if you're comfortable, a little bit more about your story in the military, when you went in, how old were you, if you share that information or not, what age range might you have been in your 20s or 30s, how long did you stay in, and a little bit about what's like for you as a woman to serve in the military. Did you have your children while you were in the military or afterwards? How does that play out in your life?
Well, I am from Washington, D.C. And when I left home, I told my mother I was going to come back and get her. So when I went into the military, the way that I got in is I went to my Congressman Dellums, and I asked him to assist me with going into the military. And I was on welfare with 3 children. My husband and I were separated, not divorced, and that was important because if I was divorced, I had to give my children up. Because I was still married, I took my children here, and I was separated. Congressman Dellums put in the papers, and I went into the military. But I always promised my mother I'd come back for her. I came all the way back to Washington, D.C., and I got my mom. I took my mom with me to California, into the military with me. They gave us a huge 4-bedroom house, and my mother and I couldn't sleep because I had been on welfare for so many years, and she had been there with me, that we couldn't believe that God had blessed us. And so we had very serious problems sleeping until we came to accept it. And my mother wanted a clothesline put up, so they put a clothesline. And really, really like that. My Metro access is here, so I have to get ready to leave. So I'm going to have to get ready and go, Reverend Darrell.
Okay, we'll visit with you some more again. Thank you so much.
I do not regret. If I could do it again, I would do it again.
Absolutely. We'll visit with you again soon.
I enjoy.
I think she might have still been talking. But so we've got another very wonderful guest with us today. Her name is Dr. Tiffany Daniel, and she is an Army vet of 26 years, almost 3 decades. That is a long time. You don't look like you're much older than that. So you must have, I'm assuming you went in from high school, I'm guessing. But I don't know. I could be wrong because you look super duper young. But you know how we are. We don't crack. She has her most memorable duty stations were in Germany, Panama, and the JCS at the Pentagon. She is a Desert Storm and OIF combat veteran. She is currently an analyst, inspirational health and wellness life coach, a best-selling author. We want to hear more about that also, and a hostess for her very own podcast and talk show, Live Today Health Talk. She is a member of a whole lot of veterans associations and centers, and she is the chair of the board of the Women's Veterans United Community Incorporated that Joanne was talking about. She is the co-president of the National Active and Retired Federal Employee Association, NARFE, Chapter 1260 in Southern Maryland. She's a chaplain. She's a vice commander in the National Association of Black Veterans. She's been an ambassador for veterans for Revelation Wellness and Fitness instructor. She's a yoga instructor. She's a consultant. Listen, she's doing it all. And I'm imagining that your military background has helped to foment some of the great work that you're able to do now. And so we'd love to hear more about your story and about your service and honor you and our veterans in the service that we've been doing. So here we go, Dr. Tiffany Daniel.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Darrell, and it's a pleasure to be on board with Energy today. And as Dr. Fisher has shared with everyone with WAVUSI, that's what we call, shorten it for Women Veteran United Committee, we just say WAVUSI. But yeah, as being the chair for the board of directors, you already shared the energy that Dr. Fisher has. So she keeps us busy and keeps us on our toes, right? Yeah. But somewhere in there, I had the time to also create a nonprofit. I was coming out of a for-profit and with the pandemic and had to close it. And we just decided that we, as in my family, decided we would do a for-profit. The nonprofit, CTL group, it is acronyms, but they are faith-based based on our names and what our names mean. So I didn't want to go into all of that. But
Okay.
with the family nucleus of dom for domination. That's our family coming back together because we during my military career and my ex-husband's military career, we went through some changes, and we decided with our children that we were not going to see that happen to any other military families. So that's why we help the families transition back into the community, whether they've been deployed or whether they're just moving in from another community. We provide them with resources, but we're trying to get transportation online also, because in our area for Southern Maryland, transportation is very slim. Okay. But the biggest piece that we've been doing lately, as Dr. Fisher shared, is mental health awareness and suicide prevention. We went on a constant we engaged for 6 months straight with mental health awareness, holding workshops and seminars virtually and in person. And then in April, we did a gala to try to bring it all together. We went on the Hill in February, and then we went to Annapolis in March, and we had our last 2 events for mental health awareness. Then we did a brainstorming session and put that all together, asking our audience, okay, we've got all these bills that our politicians are proposing, and unfortunately, none of them passed. So it's like, okay, what do we need to do? Because everybody's talking about this topic. So what do we need to do to get more focus, get more money, and get more attention on this topic? So in closing with the gala, we made a list of things that from each event, people listed during our brainstorming sessions to say what we needed. And the biggest one was training, more awareness, because as veterans, we are taught to ignore a lot of the signs and symptoms and just move through, keep going, keep charging, get the job done, complete the task, whatever the case may be, whatever it may take. Very little time do we care or do a self-check. Our families may notice. For instance, when I came home, my husband then said, "You've changed," but I kept moving. I didn't notice, and I didn't take the time. I asked him a couple of times, "What do you mean?" And he couldn't pinpoint it either. But see, if we had what we have now, then it may have helped save our family nucleus. So that's why we're so passionate about what we're doing in the community.
That is amazing. Thank you, and thank you for all the work you do, and for your service as well. And so, tell us a little bit about you. There's a peer group that's starting, poseyforvets.org, and we're going to put that on the screen. Can you tell us now? I was trying to figure out Sisters of the Posey. What is the Posey or the Posey? Is that something? Is that military language that women
So yes, so Posse, so it's a peer support group right out of VA. Some members of Vision 1 through 5 VA right here in DC. So they have Maurice Harrison is the CEO, and our late dear Patricia Craig was the COO, whom we just lost last month. We will be attending her memorial service on next month, and we're trying to keep the mission going. See what I mean? We keep charging, right? But at any rate, the peer support group has a men's group, and it was her dream that we started a females group. So we were in the middle of standing up a females group, and she transitioned. So I've said to the group, Lord, God willing, that we will start our first female group, Sisters of the Posse, this Saturday. So if you want more information on how to join us, then we won't do the intake. We're just going to hold space this Saturday. And the email address and everything is there. You can email us, ask for more information, or go to the website to get more information on it. So we are looking forward to continuing in her honor for this female peer support group to help our fellow comrades, our female veterans that are out there that can be like Dr. Fisher and I, you know what I mean? But you just need that group to connect with and to help you keep things going, keep things together. We just want our women veterans to know they are not alone. Active duty, reservist, National Guard veterans, you are not alone out there, and you don't have to take all of this on by yourself. And you don't have to be in DC. This one is going to be virtual.
Awesome. So we'll see this Saturday because we're pre-recording this. Are you saying the May 27th or the June 3rd is the
May 27th. Thank you so much. Yes, May
yes.
27th,
So if
Saturday
you're seeing
at
this,
7
this
p.m.
message after that, get in touch with them because the group will have started and their arms are open for you. So get in touch with them at the website www.posiforvets.org. I'll put it back on the screen again for you so that you can reach out to them. And there is an email address as well for you anywhere across the country or veterans, maybe even around the world. If you're seeing this and you're a U.S. military veteran and you want this kind of support, we're here for you. And so they're here for you. I say we because I do so many things with you all from time to time that I feel like I'm a part of you, even though I have wanted to. My shameless plug is that all of my life, I wanted to be a Marine. If I were going to go into the military, I wanted to be a Marine. But because I was in the arts and because I was in psychology and I had some access to college, I went to college and still a military service. And there were a few times in my life where I said, oh, I could do it, but it was never a good time to leave everything that I had because I knew that's what I'd have to do to go into military service. So I never did. And I didn't know enough about reserves. I could have done that. But here we are. So all I can do now is to be an enthusiastic supporter of our military personnel and our veterans. I have other political issues with military in general, but we're not here to talk about that. But I do support my folks that have served because you are the people who do the work, and that's what's important. We honor labor wherever that labor is being offered. So thank you again. Erin, you've been listening to these two amazing women, and you're a dynamic, amazing woman in your own right. And so you mentioned being a military widow. So would you share just a little bit about your time as a military wife, and maybe if there's things you want to ask Dr. Daniel as well? Please take the floor is yours.
Well, my dad was a contractor for the military, which is where we traveled a lot with the military and everything. So he himself was not military, but he did work with them. And we lived on a military base for, I would say about 3 years, 4 years. And that's where I met my husband. I was going to school and I was in high school on the base, and he was in the military. So, little older, but we knew each other for quite a while. And then we decided to get married because he was getting deployed to Afghanistan. And so we decided to, get married before he took off because, at that time it was really scary. And so we got married, and he was deployed, I think, 3 or 4 days later. And we wrote each other letters every day, and he was like the love of my life. And I'm sorry, I might cry. It's been 12 years, no, 13 years now. He died on June 10th of 2010. 3 months after we got married, in a car bombing in Afghanistan. And, there isn't a day that goes by that I don't miss him. But he died doing what he loved. He loved helping people, and he was such a kind spirit. So military has always had a special place in my heart, as I said before. My biological father was in the Army. I had an uncle who was in the military for Vietnam. My grandfather fought in World War II on D-Day. We have a long history in our family of military. So when I was honored to marry one, it was a big thing for me. So,
Erin, I'd like to say my condolences for your loss, and we still hold a space for spouses. We teach, well, I don't, but with a group. I'm an instructor with compassion fatigue for our social workers, teachers, our spouses, and our caregivers. But we also have grief share within, that helps as well. But I also teach yoga classes just for mindfulness, resilience, and trauma. So if you ever want to, we have spaces for you. And thank you so much. Your family and all that you all are doing for our country as well. Thank you.
Yeah, Dr. Daniel, I have a question. Do you all now? There are times I know where women, and potentially maybe even in cases like Aaron's, where the marriage wasn't long, and all of that, and so maybe people aren't getting some of the spousal benefits that they should get, or the paperwork is too crazy. Other statutes of limitations on deadlines when you can actually access those kinds of benefits. Like if you didn't get it within 3 years of the person dying, you're never gonna get them, or what's that? Do you all help with those kinds of technical things that people struggle understanding the minutia of paperwork and red tape that goes on and bureaucracy to get what people deserve?
Yeah, so we don't personally, but yes, we do refer because a lot of members within our group or that we partner with are veteran service officers. So they can look it up or look into it for you. So you don't have to worry about taking the lift on yourself. You talk to them and they can help guide you through it. And it does not cost. That's one of the things we have going on now with this Black Guardian Act is a lot of our veterans are paying for these services. You should not have to because it's a benefit that you all have deserved.
So there are some benefits that our veterans need to be sure they're aware of, because there are some folks out there that you can pay them for anything and they'll help you do it. Right? And that doesn't mean that they're illegitimate. It just means that you're paying for something that you could get done in another environment, in another place for free. And
Exactly.
and housing is a big deal for veterans and homelessness. And I think when I know you got to get on the road, Dr. Daniels, you've got many activities going on this weekend. We thank you for coming on to share for us now to just do a pre-recording. Again, we pre-recorded this so that we could air this on Memorial Day and thereafter so that you all can enjoy your holiday, but also just so we can take a moment to honor our military service personnel and our veterans and our retirees and our fallen soldiers and our folks that are still prisoners of war all around the world, and the military families and spouses and all the rest of the community that intersect with the military. And in many ways, some communities depend on the work of the military in those areas for the thriving of their economy. In certain areas around our country, the military base is the employer of choice. It is the biggest employer in some places, even of non-military personnel. So we honor you, Dr. Daniel. We honor all of our veterans, all of our military folks, and all those attached. We thank you for it, Aaron. We love you, and we thank you for you sharing part of your story with us. And you've been with me for a year. I didn't know that part of your story.
Yeah.
And it's okay because, as we get to know each other even more, we'll know more about each other's stories. But I thank you for sharing that very, very personal, intimate story with us, and for trusting our audience to get some insight into that with you. So I'm Daryl, Daryl Moak, Reverend Daryl. Depends on when you see me, how you call me, but I'm always Daryl. And with Energy Incorporated, we are a community empowerment organization that is also faith-based connected, and we work for whole person health. We are working to eradicate poverty in all of its many forms. And so we want you to know that there's nothing about your life that you should be ashamed of. We're fighting stigma and shame around mental health, substance use disorders, and around life itself. Who we are, how we live is not something to be ashamed of. So we're grateful for you all being with us today. You'll see our next podcast coming out soon. You can like us on our Facebook channel, and you can also like us on our YouTube channel. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel, and that is there as well. And I'm going to put that up for you right now. And so we are grateful, Dr. Daniel, for you being with us and sharing all that you are and all that you do. And so thank you again for being here. We hope that you all will get out and enjoy some, or have been able to enjoy some of our wonderful Memorial Day activities wherever you are. And we hope that you will take at least a moment out of your weekend or your day off on Monday to remember the reason for this particular season. And that is for all those folks who are serving, those that have served, and those that will serve, to keep us in the kind of life that we want to have here in this country. Again, thank you so much, Dr. Daniel. Any parting words for us, Dr. Daniel?
Yes, just everyone remember the reason for Memorial Day. A lot of people get it mixed up and they'll tell our veterans, thank you for your service. Memorial Day is for those that we have lost. All right. And Veterans Day is when you can tell a veteran thank you at any time, but just we get them confused sometimes. So we're honoring those that we have lost on this weekend. Thank you all so much for holding this space, and peace be unto you.
So thank you. And we'll see you all again soon. Watch out for our next podcast coming soon. Take care.